The moment I met Ryan, I felt like he was going to take me on a really wild ride. I just had a gut feeling about that.
You had your brokerage license, so you could have just started your own brokerage, you know what I mean? And your own thing and really become his competitor. So
Absolutely.
So let's talk about that for a second. So, how was it working with him and saying, okay, I'm a broker associate? Was that what your position was? Or talk to me about that.
Joining Serhant gave me the freedom to not have to build out the framework of a business, just kind of fit into it. I didn't even watch when the show came out. I was like, I'm not interested in that.
Yes, I was there.
Or I wasn't, and I'm still not interested in it. Like I just know what I gravitate to. Yeah. I know what matters to me. You know what I mean? I'm at that point, I think, where I have a good understanding of what inspires me and what doesn't.
Yeah. How many people do you have on your team? You said you're intentional to keep your team small. So how many people do you have on your team? And does that kind
it's
of
four.
Give you leads? Does he have you go to networking parties? Like, what was it that you feel helped, in his brokerage that you did want?
Noelle.
So excited to be here with you, Tricia Lee of Owning Manhattan. You are an amazing real estate agent, realtor, broker. You've sold hundreds of millions of dollars of real estate, and you're an absolute inspiration. You're a beautiful woman. I'm so happy to have you here. So just first want to say thank you for being here today.
Oh, thank you. You're so gorgeous. I love it.
Thank you. You too. So you work with the legendary Ryan Serhant, and, obviously we've been seeing him on television, but now we get to kind of see his whole team and all of the agents that he works with and his brokerage, and just really opened up the curtain to all of, the real estate business that you guys have in one of the best cities in the entire world, Manhattan, New York. And so you've been a licensed real estate agent, broker for how long? Kind of tell me the evolution of Tricia.
Yeah, I got licensed in 2015. It was on my bucket list for the year, and I was like, I got to do it. I didn't actually do it till like closer to the end of the year, but I got licensed in 2015. At the time, I was running my own businesses in downtown Brooklyn, and I was like, I have promised myself I was going to do this for years. It's time to do it. So I got licensed in 2015. A year later, I had enough deals to become a real estate broker, but I didn't have enough time to become a real estate broker. So I had to sit that out and wait a year. But I was really proud that I accomplished, that much business, that I was able to be but officially I was able to be a real estate broker. So I took the test and everything, but they're like, you don't have the time in.
Right. Every state is different. You know what I mean? So it's funny because I've been licensed since 2006 as a real estate agent. I first got my license in 2006 in Georgia. And then I moved, and I've lived everywhere because I love doing real estate investing. So then in Texas, then they had a different, test, no reciprocity. Then in Virginia, now in Florida. And so I have been licensed since 2006, and I didn't actually become a broker until 2022, I think. I never stayed in a state long enough to meet, like you said, enough sales and enough time, because some states have where you have to do, let's just say a round number. You have to have 10 sales within the past X amount of time. And you have to have been licensed as an active realtor for 2 years, 5 years before you can actually even take the test to be a broker. So it's so funny. We definitely have that in common. But so how many sales did you have to have in New York in order to take the broker's license? Because you said it was sales one time.
So it's a certain amount of points, and then they apply points to different transactions. They actually apply more points to the buyer side or the rental agent side of the transaction, which is interesting. They don't give you as many points when you're listing or when you're working with the landlord. They give you more points when you're working with the customer. But it was my first year, and I had nothing but customers. I mean, very few people were trusting me to list properties. I did get good listings towards the last 6 months of my first year, but I went in with guns blazing. So I don't remember how many points it is, but let's say you had to do 40 transactions. I did that my first year. Wow. And so I took the test, and they're like, well, you don't have the 2 years in though.
Right.
So I waited, I took the test, I passed the test, but I had to wait 2 years to actually get the broker license. And the reason why it was really important for me to do that was because I was working on my own. I was working independently. I wasn't on a team. And even though I was, we're very new to real estate, I was an entrepreneur. I was a businesswoman already, you know what I mean? And all my clients were my beauty clients. And so I just didn't want the image that I put out there to be like, oh, she's new, because so much of real estate is relationships, life experience, and just wisdom, you know, and personality and negotiability and like just how you do what you do. And I just didn't want to ever look like a newbie with that stuff because I had, you know, my footing and I was still learning a lot in real estate, but I was like, no, I'm a broker. So I got that right away. And so I became a broker in 2017. And at that time I had started working with Compass. I worked at Corcoran for less than a year, loved it. But Compass was starting and I loved their technology and they were heavily recruiting. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll consider, you know, going there. I got recruited by the founder of Compass, Rob Refkin, and it was just such a, he doesn't take no for an answer. So,
well, that's good.
I was like, is this what I'm doing? I guess I'm doing, you know, whatever. But it was a great experience. I loved it, you know, and I worked there for years, 5 years. And I would say like around 4 years, I started to feel like, okay, I've kind of got this under my belt. Like there's so many other voids in my career that I need to kind of like fill those gaps.
Yeah.
And I just started interviewing with everyone. I was like, okay, I'll just see what other brokerages have to offer. And at that time I had become like one of the top Black brokers in Brooklyn and got recognized for it. And I felt like it was a really good time to leverage that and see what else was out there. So I interviewed with everyone. And Ryan's interview just really stood out to me. You know, in real estate, people don't often understand that, you know, once you have your career behind you, you really kind of go out and see what these brokerages can offer you, you know, what kind of services they can offer you to make your job better, to make you work with your clients better. That's the fit that you're looking for when you're interviewing with different brokerages. It's not about a logo or an office. It's really about like, this is what I need to be successful. Do you have that? And are you the best at what that is?
Yeah.
I loved my interview with him. It absolutely stood out. It was one of 5 interviews I did in the same week, but it was nothing like the other interviews. And so I just felt like, oh,
what was the, obviously he's a, you know, we've seen his personality. Some people love it. Some people are like, ooh, so what kind of stood out to you?
Well, he was prepared for the interview. Like I felt that a lot of people were like, okay, she was in print in a magazine saying that she's one of the top Black brokers in Brooklyn. And I mean, I think for most people, it's like, okay, she hasn't been in the business very long. These are other people that have been in the business 3 times as long as her, and she's being recognized. She must be on fire.
Yeah.
And so it was like, we want her, you know, but you're not interested in her at all. Whereas when I sat with him, you know, he was like, tell me about your beauty business. Like he knew all these different details. And I, Tricia Lee, don't care if you like went through that with your assistant before you met me.
Right.
I just appreciate that you're prepared.
Right.
You know, I do think he has a photographic memory, and I think I've heard that, or I think I've read that somewhere. So maybe he just looked at notes, but whatever, the conversation was better because you were prepared to talk to me and you weren't talking to me from a space of not knowing me. You were talking to me because you were curious about how did I do X, Y, and Z. Like small things that I was doing, he knew about. Like I do Google reviews for small businesses intentionally, and I'm really like into it, like way too into it. But you know, it's a give back to me because I've been in small business and I know people don't review small businesses unless they're mad. So I go around and review them when I'm happy.
Right.
But he knew that, like small little just interests, he knew. I love that. I immediately was taken aback with how like humble Ryan was, but yet how successful he was.
Yeah.
And so by the end of the interview, I felt like that's what I could gain from him. I could learn that balance. And I was most impressed with that balance. Like his career is insane, but whatever. You know what I mean? Like I told him this, I will tell anyone this. I'm going to do good wherever I'm at. It don't matter.
Right.
You can put me.
I can see that put me. Yes, right. You put me in the middle of the ocean, I will be all right.
I'm going to sell some water. I know that. So I loved what I thought I could gain personally on a development side from him. And that's just where I'm at in my life now. Like what's going to grow me and stretch me personally? Like we have to be careful when we get drawn to these challenges that are like what I call chaotic challenges. I don't need chaotic challenges. I'm grown. I know how to deal with chaos. I'm good.
Exactly.
But if it can grow me and stretch me and make me better at what it is that I do or how I show up, that I'm really, really drawn to. And that's what I thought I could gain from working with someone with his personality and his work style. I think it is what I've gained. So I'm really glad I made that decision. You know, I've learned really well how to not respond and manage and just how much time to give things when you don't really love the outcome. For, you know, I've learned it's about 7 or 8 seconds and keep it moving. So I made a great choice and I'm really happy with the choice, but it was a tough choice because, you know, whenever you're doing anything in your career, you want to make sure it's the right move. You know, you don't want to have to back out of it. So, but I just felt like since the moment I met Ryan, I felt like he was going to take me on a really wild ride. I just had a gut feeling about that.
And obviously, how have you been? So let's talk about that for a second, because you are an absolute superstar. That show is taking off. Everybody loves owning Manhattan. It has opened up the curtains to what that is like. So before we even get to the Netflix part and the owning Manhattan, let's talk about how was it working with him? Because like you said, you had your brokerage license. So you could have just started your own brokerage, you know what I mean? And your own thing and really become his competitor.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
So let's talk about that for a second. So, you know, how was it working with him and saying, okay, I'm a broker associate? Was that what your position was? Or talk to me about that.
Yeah, it's a broker associate. You know, I formed my own team when I got there. I partnered with my partner, and he was already in real estate. We met in real estate, and we brought on agents. We're a very small but mighty team.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to do. You know, I'm somebody who had run successful businesses and multiple businesses. So I didn't have anything to prove to myself about what I'm capable of doing. It was a life choice for me that I wanted to have a very lucrative business, but not all the trappings of what comes with it. I'd already had that. Right. In my 30s, I was running multiple businesses, was a homeowner, you know, like whatever you're supposed to check off the list, we did that.
Had it checked.
And
Tricia was
we did. And yes.
Car,
you know, yeah.
First, shoes.
But what I really wanted to do, and I just kept saying this, I want to live like a teenager with a credit card. That's what I want to do now.
Love that.
And so, you know, joining Serhant gave me the freedom to not have to build out the framework of a business, just kind of fit into it.
Yeah.
And what I have been most happy about there is the culture that I experienced there is just like everyone is here to be themselves, uniquely themselves, and push their business forward with their own unique brands.
Yeah.
And it works perfectly for me. You know, I know what it is to build out a business and to put my business brand name in everybody's mouth in my borough. I have done that, and I did that at 32 years old, right? I could not walk anywhere without people knowing what I did and where I did it. Right. So if you need to be filled in that way, I had that filled 10 years before I did this.
Yeah.
What I really wanted to do was to develop myself on a professional level, and I wanted my business to be more just like concise and efficient. I keep my team small. I don't want a large team. I want things that make great sense for me and what I want in my life. And I'm very intentional about that. And even with the show, you see that there are things that I'm very outspoken about. And then there are things I just don't care about, don't even pay attention to. Like literally didn't even watch when the show came out. I was like, I'm not interested in that.
Yes, I was there.
Or I wasn't, and I'm still not interested in it. Like I just know what I gravitate to. I know what matters to me. You know what I mean? I'm at that point, I think, where I have a good understanding of what inspires me and what doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you said a few things that I really want you to just kind of go into just a little bit more, because that was amazing.
Sure.
How many people do you have on your team? You said you're intentional to keep your team small. So how many people do you have on your team? And does that kind
of
four, and you just want to maintain that? Okay. I love that.
You know, I think we're going to grow the team to maybe 6, I would say. But I think with my beauty business, I had, at the peak, there were 22 staff. And I know what that requires of your life and your commitment. You know what I mean? And I got into real estate with the effort to just get it right this time in my entrepreneurial journey. I really wanted to get it right. So that means editing the things that you want and the things that you don't want. And so what I craft is what I want.
Yeah.
Not what anyone thinks I should want or what anyone projects on me what they would want.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've kind of had a lot of different levels of success, and I kind of know now what's most important to me.
Yeah.
And I don't want 18 people calling me and looking. I don't want that. I've had that.
Right.
Clear on what that is, you know? And so when I look at Ryan, I'm just like, oh, I want him to have a nap. Yeah. But I love the ambition. I love the drive, and I love the way that fire kind of impacts everyone around him.
Yeah.
But Tricia Lee is very clear on what it is that she wants for her life. And then her work is only a reflection of that.
I love it. I love it. Okay.
You know, my work is not my life.
Right.
My work is a piece of my life. A piece.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. And I love that you're able to have, different personalities inside of the business. So kind of choosing your team and working within the Serhant brand. Obviously you said it was kind of him knowing about you and meeting your needs is why you kind of went with him. So I think, I'm a real estate broker. I'm fully transparent about that. And two, same thing. I don't want a big team, but I guess I want to know, and this is just very selfish, is did he give you leads? Did he have you go to networking parties? Like, what was it that you feel helped, in his brokerage that you did want? You know what I mean? The thing you said, he gave me what I needed. What were some of those things, and what are some of the unexpected things too that he brought to the table that maybe you didn't consider?
I think some of the hard skills were immediately when I came on board, I had some really great pitches that were coming my way, and we pitched together. So I was able to sit in his presence and really see how he has worked out the kinks in his presentations and just his interactions with the client. I was very surprised how much he let the clients lead versus him leading. I mean, he walks in with this personality frame that's bigger than life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's very striking. He's very tall. He's very, he has a very powerful, presence.
Yeah.
Gentle, but very powerful presence.
Right.
And, I was able to pick up on those hard skills literally the day after I started. I mean, I think we went on a pitch the day after I started.
Okay.
So I learned about that. I learned about his angle with PR and just being in-house and seeing that. Some of the soft skills I learned is how he maneuvers and just navigates personalities, being in public. You know what I mean? I knew how to manage myself in a situation where maybe everybody in the room now knows who I am, and I'm walking into that room, and that's very awkward for someone.
Yeah.
That yesterday everyone didn't know who you are, but now when you walk into a room, everybody knows who you are. The last time I was on a plane, I literally saw this girl, and she had her phone on the little tray, and I grabbed her phone because I saw my friend Jordan on the phone, so I thought it was my phone. And she was like, "Excuse you," and I was like, "Excuse you?" We excusing people, excuse you. And she's like, "That's my phone." And I was like, "Oh," I thought it was, it's my friend. And I was like, but I'm forgetting that the show came out 2 days ago, Tricia, and she's downloaded this show and she's watching it for her plane ride back to New York.
Right.
And here you are, and so that adjustment for me was easier because I've watched how he's navigated local fame or fame, whatever you want to call it, and how well he does that. Because it's this is somebody that's worked out all those kinks for over a decade.
Yeah.
So I get to stand next to him and be like, "Oh, that's what we're doing? Okay, and why do we do that again?" So that's great. So the soft skills, the hard skills, all of those things, the knowledge of the business, I just have never been around somebody that can just spit out data, details, facts, history, like he does. And so you can't really quantify the value of just being that close to someone that has that much to offer and is willing to offer it, because some people are not willing to offer it. So I think that that's what it is. And for me, I think I knew that he understood I was coming in with a very big personality and a very big presence. You know what I mean? When you guys see that scene where I'm like, I wanted you to be my Lil Wayne because I was going to be your Drake. Yeah. I said that to him in my interview.
Wow.
When I interviewed with him, I was like, so if you're big, you're a huge deal, whatever.
Exactly.
But are you
I'm
okay?
Drake, right? But in your mind, you're Drake, so you're going to be just as big. I love it. Oh my gosh.
But can you handle that? Right. You know what I mean? We're here, because your interview is my interview. We're both interviewing each other. I can go anywhere and have success, and you can hire anyone and have success.
Right.
We both are going to be good regardless.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily belong somewhere where you can't let me shine because you have to have all the light. Have all the light you want, but are you okay with someone else having light? Can you appreciate someone coming behind you and doing knockout, breakout, ridiculous work and the notoriety that comes with it? Because I felt like that's what's going to happen here. Are you okay with it?
Yeah. So now
in that conversation, you see that, it's like
this is
that
a great lead-in. And now you're on the show. Okay. So now we've evolved. Okay. Because you guys were successful, and now you get the opportunity to be on Owning Manhattan and make a show. First, tell me, how did that come to be? Did he say, I am now going to, make my own thing. No more $1 million listing, no more any of that type of thing. How did that come? And then was you immediately invited? Were you in the meetings, or was he made the whole deal and then said, Tricia's coming along, or were you kind of involved and wanted to be a part of this show?
Day one in real estate, everybody's like, why aren't you on TV? And I'm like, that's not how it works. I just got my license on Tuesday, So I think that there's just natural capability that people pick up on immediately when they meet me. You know what I mean? Like I did some big television show the other day. They're like, you need to be here every day. And I'm like, that's what I'm trying to say, you know? So that's a part of it is just what is very apparent. You know what I mean? Like, I think that that's what it is. If I casted and another 900 people casted, like I wasn't nervous about my casting. Let's put it like that.
Gotcha.
It's like, okay, this is, you know, like, I remember being like, oh, I killed that shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I
felt that way, you know, and I said it and I felt that way. But I think, I'm not sure, but I think his role on Bravo and that show, it may have been tied to his former brokerage because, you know, he started his own brokerage. Right. So I think maybe he had to figure out his own setup and situation. I knew that he really wanted to do his own show. And I think that with Ryan, I think Ryan gets a show if he decides to like change his haircut. I think everybody wants Ryan to do a show. So it was really just him figuring out what he wanted to do and how he wanted to do it. And I was involved in the very beginning. It just took forever because these things take forever. Yeah. But it was proper casting. You know what I mean? Like you can go in there and you can have a phenomenal business. You can look a certain way. You could be all those things. But at the end of the day, the network decides what they find interesting and what they don't. Right. And that's what it came down to. And then when you get into the process, you may think one thing or another. I thought I'd be great on camera. I was like, I'm just gonna be me, and they're gonna have to deal with this. And I didn't. I was not. I was like all froze up when I first started. I was like, what am I gonna say? You know, and then I said the Black girl moment came in where it's like everything I say is a reflection of everyone that looks like me. I have to be responsible for that. I have to think. And I got so inside of my head, there was like steam coming out of my ears. Like they couldn't even capture anything. I don't know why they were so patient with me because I felt so much weight for it.
Talk about that for a second, because I think that is something that people don't realize. That you do kind of, you know, we do have to change the narrative. Obviously, I am an African-American female, and I felt for so long like, you know, us on TV and us in the media, we have so many, you know, we fight, we argue, we cuss a person out, and that's just who we are. And I'm so happy for this new, like you, I'm so happy for you. That's why I'm so happy you are here doing this interview, because I love who you show up as. And I'm happy for these new narratives of the Black woman. And let's talk about the pressure that comes with it, because obviously we do get angry about stuff. We do want to sometimes curse for it. Now, I don't think we all want to fight people, because I have no interest in fighting people, but at the same time. So talk about that pressure and kind of how you got out of your head and realized there is a responsibility that you have. You are a part of changing that narrative. You've done a great job with it, but at the same time, you are aware of it.
Super aware, because I never watched reality TV. I wasn't really into reality TV. When I did watch it, sometimes I would just feel like this is what's representing me. You know, sometimes I would feel that way. And I don't, there's so many preconceived notions about us. Like, why do we have to put stuff out there that just kind of reaffirms everything? You know what I mean? Because it's just not like that. Like I know a lot of Black women like me, like you, like, you know, like me. And I think I felt like I wanted to do the show to demonstrate a woman like myself. Yes. But then I also felt like all that pressure that I was putting on myself was because like I felt like I had to, you know, change the course, or I had to, you know, be aligned with only certain types of, you know, I took it too far, and it wasn't necessary. And the whole time they're like, Tricia, we just want you to be yourself. Like that person that walked into the room and cast with us and was like spinning everybody in 5 seconds, like just do that. Right. And I just one day got to a point, which I always do. I find my way no matter what. Like it'll be a struggle. I might like, you know, I'm shaky for a while, but I would say about week 6, I got to a point that I was like, the best thing I can do for every Black woman is to be so free that I show up exactly who I am and not care what y'all think about it. Oof. That is what I can do for Black women. Like I can actually just show up and be me and understand it's going to be taken this way, that way. It may be edited this way. Who knows? Right. You know, and it may not be edited at all. And the perception may be whatever. Right. But I was like, I think it's just better to be a boss ass Black woman that just shows up as herself.
You wear that well, and you have your
let them live with it. Let them deal with it. And so once I got there, I had fun. Good. It was a breeze. It was free. You know what I mean? And I've stood true to that in the sense that like people are like, oh, you're trending on Reddit. I don't go on Reddit. I got a username the other day just because like my intern was like, you need Reddit.
Yeah.
But like, I just I feel really good that I don't have to go on those things, and I don't have to see what they're saying about me on Twitter, and I don't care about what they don't like, because people are fickle, and they're going to love you one season and drag you the next.
That's
and
right.
I just want to be so free. I don't care what y'all like.
I love it. I love it. Well, this has been amazing. Like I said, you have some amazing information. I'm going to make sure to put all of the links in the description box so people can follow you. Any closing words before we go, Miss Tricia Lee?
Yes. Watch Owning Manhattan on Netflix. Finish the series. And post about it, share about it. And if you want to see more of it, let us know. Like, this numbers matter in this game,
right?
And I just can't believe the response we've had to this show. It has been insane. I don't know that, they're saying another real estate show has never performed this way,
right?
But let people know to watch it. And if they love it, say it. And if they want to see more of something, say that too.
Okay. I love it. I'll make sure I watch it. I will make sure we put the links below. This has been an amazing interview. You are an amazing, strong boss, entrepreneur, and you are representing everything about Tricia Lee and your entire, femininity and race, or whatever we want to call it. You do the absolute best with that. So I appreciate you, and I will see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.